You're on the hunt for a BMW with serious power, yet you're not in the mood for an M3 or M4. Why not consider taking a look at an i4? The 4 Series G26 has been available on the market since late 2021 and is now also offered as a used car, as a youthful used one. Very, very interesting, because our top model here starts at 71,100 euros. However, if you browse through car marketplaces, you'll find this beauty, complete with good equipment, starting at prices as low as approximately 65,000 euros. At first glance, this price difference compared to a new car doesn't seem large. But when you consider that our little beauty is packed with special features that push the price over 91,000 euros, then such a used car with low mileage is certainly a good alternative. Yes, and which parts need to be there, what you should pay attention to, I'll explain that to you here today in detail. And then we'll dive directly into discussing the headlights, because at that point, you have the option to decide whether you want them or not. Yes, the laser light headlights. Here, darkened in shadow line again. BMW charges an extra 1,700 euros for them. I would suggest that even if they're not included, it's actually really not such a big deal, because the regular headlights already look quite impressive. It comes as standard with full LED lighting, so you can easily skip the laser add-on feature. Unless you're a Star Wars fan, then it's obviously a must-have at your regulars table. Excessively large or overly cool, the BMW grille here at our hotel, that's debatable. Some love it, others hate it. Here it's definitely mostly closed, only open at the bottom area. Radar on the left, an opening for cooling air here, and on both sides, these glossy black air intakes. It's completely aerodynamically sealed off. We actually have a fairly impressive drag coefficient of 0.22 here. Sure, combined with the R-wheels, the sealed underbody, and the rear diffuser, this is very effective. That ensures you'll have just a little bit more electric driving range available. Unlike many other manufacturers, BMW takes a completely different approach with its model series. The i4 is also built on the traditional combustion platform. This means BMW can manufacture the M3, the regular 3 Series, the Touring, and even the 4 Series Gran Turismo, like the one we already have here standing. Produce them on the same line. How is this possible? Because it uses the same platform. What might appear to be an engine here is, in reality, nothing more than just a simple cover. And whenever I take it off, it's by far the largest one I've ever come across. Yes, and then you'll see, there's no frang, but there's plenty of space here. There can also be a pure 6-cylinder with a turbocharger. Personally, I don't necessarily need that, because here we have dual motor drive. We have one motor on the front axle, one motor on the rear axle, and a power output of 544 horsepower, 795 Newton meters of torque, which means it delivers more punch than both an M3 and an M4. And that's really quite impressive. Within this price performance class as an electric vehicle, the i4, particularly in our M50 version, competes directly with popular models like the Tesla Model 3 Performance. You simply can't avoid that. However, I definitely consider including the Neo ET5 as a viable contender in this class. Unfortunately, Mercedes doesn't offer anything in this price performance class. It's all significantly higher tiered. Yes, definitely not Audi. When it comes to premium brands, BMW is truly and undeniably very, very far ahead. What would an M be? Even if it's just an M50, without M mirrors. Yes, they not only look sharp, they're also extra expensive here, because we've got the carbon package on board here. Yeah, folks, that's just something that has to be included. When buying a used one, make sure it comes with it. If it doesn't have it, I genuinely believe you should seriously plan to retrofit it. That's genuine carbon. It just looks absolutely stunning. Yeah, and for the 2.6, you're not only getting 2 side mirrors, but also the air curtains on the right and left of the front bumper in carbon fiber, and a really large section on the rear bumper on both right and left sides. That's a compelling selling point for any used car available. If it includes the carbon package, don't hesitate to grab it. It's an exceptional deal. We also have the Shadowline package, featuring sleek window trims and strips in glossy black, enhancing its exclusive flair significantly. The paint is mineral white, not just plain, but a striking metallic white that looks cool and adds a sophisticated touch of style to the car as a whole. However, I would absolutely love to see a more snappy and vibrant M3 color on it. For the sake of completeness, let's go over the dimensions again. Our Grand Coupe measures 4.78 meters in length and stands at a height of 1.45 meters. We have a wheelbase measuring 2.85 meters, which unfortunately results in a turning circle of 12.50 meters, and that's indeed quite large. Are you aware of the hidden dual function of the ignition key? It's not as useless as it seems because you can use the lock button to both close and roll up the windows. All known, no issue at all. But there's another trick. By pressing the unlock button twice and then opening my door, a ventilation function is activated. The window lowers itself to this specific level, and it does so not just in the front, but also in the back section. I step inside, close the door, and as if by some sort of magic, the windows gracefully roll back up. The same thing happens in the front. Also on the passenger side, on all four windows. As soon as I've locked the vehicle for the first time and then unlock it once more, this particular function gets deactivated once again. The standard 18-inch rims that are provided with an M50 are, in my opinion, indeed quite an unbelievable insult. You really need at least 19-inch wheels here. Even better would be the 20s, as they look much nicer and give a more impressive appearance. Alright, so what exactly do we have here? It's 8.5 inches by 20 inches in size, and they're fitted with a 255/35 tire, making it quite a setup. It's also really nicely angled, so it's truly top-notch BMW tuning at its finest. Yeah, and they're not that pricey. You can get them in Astra quality for about 160 euros. I think that's a fantastic price overall. The cost for the brakes, when they eventually need replacing, obviously ends up affecting your wallet too. But here we've got the M Sport brakes, and we've also got an electric vehicle, meaning we are able to recuperate. This essentially implies that you don't really need to use them all that often, only when it really matters. Otherwise, it just looks simply here in our optional red. Mega nice from heaven and hell, and not quite as nice as the setup here at the rear axle. Let's dive right into what doesn't work at all, and that's this widening here. It's mandated to properly cover the wheel arch, but it nonetheless looks entirely aftermarket and cheap. In my opinion, BMW, you really could have given this car some stylish and bold fenders, much like you do with the other M models, such as the real M3 and the real M4, which have those authentic M features. Guys, not exactly that great. Naturally, it's partly due to our rim, as it measures 10 inches in width, 20 inches in diameter, and is fitted with a 285/30 tire. And that's on an electric car, and it's really quite tight. The cost of each tire is approximately 230 euros in OEM quality, which is all things considered still fairly bearable. With our all-wheel drive version, they are not excessively strained in this particular context. Naturally, the M rear spoiler is included in the carbon package, and I constantly gripe with sedans that there's always a lack of a rear spoiler. Here it is, and it looks fantastic. Extra points from me to all you BMW guys. Yeah, and of course, you know, the M50, can't forget that. Everyone needs to know exactly what we're driving. The taillights all in LED technology. The painted diffuser looks super cool. However, when examining the design in detail, there could definitely be a few exhaust pipes here. Kindly write in the comments regarding how much you like it. It's certainly a matter of individual taste, and these here are the carbon elements that I mentioned earlier on. Just always standard electric. Here you have the tailgate, and this is not just a trunk lid, you see it is a tailgate. That's quite clearly better than on the sedan because loading and unloading can indeed be carried out a bit more easily and conveniently. You don't have to squeeze everything through such a tiny hatch. We now have a cargo space of 470 liters here. If anyone wants, they can of course fold down the rear seats or just leave out some of these wooden panels. Also, the one on the tailgate, you can remove that, then you can stack your trunk a little bit higher. We have a little secret compartment down here. Yeah, you can't fit much cabling in there, but the essentials will fit. What I'm really missing here in the trunk though is a hook for bags. Hey dear BMW guys, this thing accelerates so brutally. I place my groceries here and they're immediately at the back of the trunk by the hatch as soon as I start driving. We could really change that a bit. It would be cool if we had something there. A dream of an interior design. Yes, I must say, BMW truly knows its craft well. Everything fits perfectly here. The material selection in particular is truly brilliant. We have a genuine leather steering wheel here, and it feels 1,000 times better than that faux leather stuff. The genuine leather on the dashboard, obviously optional, isn't strictly necessary, but it's really nice with the decorative stitching here. There's a Sensatech dashboard. That's just, blamed. The plastic and leather looks much better, of course, just like the airbag here with a fine decorative seam. So really everything is just really, really good. Yes, and also the wear, our good one has now done 3,600 kilometers. I've got a tiny mark here, possibly from the watch or the ring, but other than that, everything still looks really super good. And here the decorative stitching, of course in the typical BMW M colors, just a real treat. In 2024 model, there was a small upgrade to the center console. The previous months all still had that big shift stick. It's not here now. Now we have just this small selector lever available right here. You can truly dress up nicely and appear stylishly here if the optional sports seats are included. However, they're not absolutely necessary. Naturally, they do look a tad cooler compared to the standard seats. But even those are impressive. They're really good. We already know them from the M models, although here they're further skeletonized. Our M50 seat doesn't have that in this model, but instead, it has a fine blue decorative seam, once again in BMW colors. The electric adjustment, electric lumbar adjustment, you are able to inflate the side bolsters for extra comfort. So, it's truly a fantastic seat that offers excellent comfort levels and is even available with optional seat ventilation for added convenience. While others are still charging, you can already enter your data into the navigation system. Simply press start here, and it's practically there immediately. We have an infotainment system much like the one we initially experienced in the X with BMW. You can also watch the video here with us on our platform. Just go ahead and click to view it. Certainly we offer 14.9 inches and 12.3 inches for the dashboard, beautifully presented in an elegant and sleek curved display. That all feels really, really good. Indeed, you can already get this system now even in the 3 Series after they underwent a mini facelift. But what's really brilliant is that one level below we still have something like buttons here. Although they're positioned behind a complete panel, these still press and operate in the same way as a classic traditional button generally would. Simply absolutely brilliantly done. Inductive charging pad, 2 cup holders, USB connection in the center console, USB-C. Everything you need is present here, and the most important buttons are conveniently located in our control island. Truly brilliant design. You have the choice of using the rotary knob, the touchpad, or the touch function on the display, offering you all possible ways to operate the device in the best way that suits you. For someone of my height, the available space is more than adequate. The seat bench slopes quite steeply downward towards the back, providing a tad extra headroom for comfort. But if you're 1.90 meters tall, you should likely sit in the driver or passenger seat. It gets cramped back here. I think the kids will definitely feel comfortable in here. Yeah, and with these backrests here, you can already see there are quite a few little footprints from the kids on them. That's really great. You can easily just wipe it off here. Since there's no fabric, it's absolutely perfect for me. And to ensure it stays interesting, we've included 2 USB-C ports for charging. There is optional seat heating available. In my view, it's something you don't actually need. Well, alright, if it's included with a good used car purchase, then why not have it? An important point, the running costs. How much tax do you pay for this beauty? Nothing at all. So, 10 years after initial registration, there's no vehicle tax for electric cars in Germany. That means initially nothing. After the 10 years, it's 80 euros that you would currently have to pay here. Compared to an M3 and M4, that stands out. For insurance, the liability class is 18, with partial and full coverage rated at 28. The BMW M3 and M2 in their competition variants are at least classified in Type Class 30. Therefore, you're definitely saving some money here. And if you decide on a used one or even opt for a new model, make sure to tick the box for the service packages when placing your order. Because BMW service is notoriously expensive, the smallest packages available here typically cover a 4-year period. Starting from 700 euros, it goes up to 3,000 euros for maintenance and inspections that you can order additionally. While it might not be necessary, the smallest package should definitely stay valid and in effect for at least 2 more years, for both a new vehicle and a used car. Charging is ideally done at home with 11 kilowatts utilizing 3 phases, or, if faster charging is needed, through DC fast charging. Considering that we have a 400-volt system on board, it's still entirely possible for us to pump up to 205 kilowatts of energy into our battery. It has a capacity of just under 84 kilowatt hours, and out of those, you can actually utilize 81 effectively for driving purposes. And I have to tell you, I reached those 205 kilowatts almost every time when I drove the battery down far enough, and the charging curve looked really good. 205 and then gently tapering off, just the way you'd want it. With that charging power, long-distance travel is really enjoyable, even if the range isn't ultimate. The charging power somewhat makes up for it. Based on my experience, it really only takes about 40 minutes from 10 to 80%. That's really quite cool. It's very fun, and that's precisely how it should be. From a standstill, if I press the gas pedal hard, it's 3.9 seconds. It just keeps pushing with unending power. It's genuinely astonishing what these electric motors are capable of achieving right here. Yeah, that's a level of performance you simply won't find with a traditional combustion engine anymore, not in this particular form. In the lower speed ranges, the electric car quite genuinely excels, indeed outshining and significantly outpacing the combustion engine. It consistently pushes you back into the headrest, no matter what happens or when you hit the accelerator, providing a powerful and thrilling experience. That's a lot of fun. And at that moment, you really understand why there are two 85mm tires on the rear axle, because the rear axle motor in itself mobilizes 313 horsepower. In addition, the front axle contributes another 258 horsepower into the mix. Yes, and even with a curb weight of 2.3 tons, you can effortlessly zip around the corners here. It's absolutely brutal. The battery is mounted in the vehicle's underbody, which effectively lowers the center of gravity, significantly enhancing the overall driving dynamics. In total, we have 544 horsepower on board, that's 400 kilowatts, with a maximum system torque of 795 Newton meters. But I don't think you really need them. Most of the time, just pressing the pedal halfway is enough. And the Luzi just smoothly goes around the corner here. Yeah, the accuracy, the sheer precision of the BMW, it's just exceptionally brilliant somehow. You can really precisely aim for each and every little curve here. The feedback from the wheels through the steering wheel to the driver is just on an entirely different and truly impressive level. This is really awesome here. And we have our standard test track with the curves. A few cars really do have quite a difficult time coping with the speeds we're hitting here. Nothing happens here at all. This thing just clings to the road. It's simply otherworldly and feels almost unreal. And otherworldly, that's also the sound it produces. We have the so-called iconic sound here. If I want that effect in sport mode, my BMW won't sound like a combustion engine anymore, but rather somewhat like a spaceship. Whether you truly need it or not is quite debatable. It's certainly very, very nice at the beginning and continues to be in the long run. But I've come to realize for myself that I'd much rather enjoy the peace and quiet here. Via the driving experience switch, which is basically these three here, I can choose my driving profile, of course. I have the Eco Pro mode here, which I can tailor to my liking. I have a comfort mode, and that is set by default. And then, of course, I also have the sport mode here, and it's available in 3 versions. One as regular sport mode, one as sport boost mode, and another as custom individual sport mode. What does sport boost mean? In essence, it simply signifies that you have the ability to mobilize an additional 50 kilowatts of motor power whenever you desire that extra boost. I've gone ahead and activated it for you. The throttle response becomes distinctly more aggressive in this sport mode, making the drive more dynamic. Anything but the showpiece of an electric car, the highway. If you're driving briskly here, then the consumption quickly reaches 24 kilowatt hours. Top speed here is 225. It reaches that super fast. It happens in no time, but then it's electronically limited. BMW claims a range of over 500 kilometers. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to achieve that. My optimal performance regarding consumption and range was approximately around about 320 kilometers. After that, I automatically drove to the charging station because I started getting range anxiety. Then I slowed down the pace, because if you really stick to it, you can easily manage with 24 kilowatt hours here. Factory specification says 18 kilowatt hours consumption. To be honest, I didn't manage that even in city traffic with a lot of recuperation. Just barely managed to reach 19.9, even though it only lasted for a very, very short period of time. So it actually uses electricity quite a lot, but not just power from fuel, because acceleration also comes from electricity. The most important driver assistance systems should of course always be on board. Of course, we have the all-around care package here, the driving assist. I just press my Z button, it adopts the speed limits, keeps me in my lane. Simply a really super relaxed driving experience. Just a slight touch of the steering wheel now and then is completely sufficient. It drives smoothly along its path, and a feature that I really like, which I already had with the BMW iX. That's just the style. Traffic jam assistant. When things really get tight and you're stuck in traffic, there's a feature here called emergency corridor. Many other manufacturers don't have that. You might have a stop assistant and traffic jam assistant, but the thing always drives in the middle. BMW chooses a different route. The vehicle perceives slow traffic conditions and alerts me on the display screen. Form a rescue lane. It simply doesn't drive in the middle, but on the edge. It's simply truly perfect. The noise comfort level, even here on the highway with these concrete slabs, is just outstandingly good. We have an interior noise level according to BMW of 66 decibels. I haven't measured it myself, but you can really have a relaxed conversation here even at higher speeds. The rolling noises are very, very minimal. The wind noise is almost imperceptible. This is driving at the absolutely highest level. If you can sacrifice the roar of an M3 or M4, long for 4 doors, desire a spacious rear hatch that offers ample cargo space, and aim to be environmentally conscious during your travels, then there's absolutely no alternative to the i4 M50. It's an awesome vehicle, incredibly fast, though it could benefit from a bit more range. But let's face it, when it comes to an M3, if you floor it on the highway, it's also empty after 250 kilometers. So this is truly a genuinely cool electric alternative option. Yes, I would like to say thank you very much for watching. I'd be happy if you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and tune in to the next episode. I say bye BMW i4.